Welcome back to Proxy, everybody, and today we are going to be diving in to the updated Legends units that GW has given us today. So, unfortunately, I was looking through this earlier today, and I almost didn't make a video about it because it was so disappointing, but I thought to myself, what kind of Aeldari content creator would I be if I only covered the good stuff? So, for all of you guys out there who had Shadow Spectres, Andros, the Warlock Skyrunner Conclave, which you could still use as other stuff, so it's not that big of a deal, but basically everything that went to Legends, Illic Nightspear, the list goes on, the Wraith Seer, etc. You will be sorely disappointed because they have absolutely given them nothing. And when I say nothing, I mean nothing. I mean they didn't even change the faction ability, which, as it stands, is nothing, because Strands of Fate is no longer a thing. So, if you look at the first datasheet here for the Legends, the Warlock Skyrunner Conclave, this was the unit that used to be able to house a Farseer Skyrunner. This is no longer the case. You can't put a Farseer in this unit anymore, legally speaking. And it has the same exact things as it had before, except it's worse now because, again, it says, while a Farseer model is leading this unit. Well, I have news for you guys. Unfortunately, the Farseer Skyrunner cannot join the Warlock Skyrunner Conclave because it's not in the datasheet. And there's no FAQ on it. So it's kind of just a lame duck unit. Warlock Conclave. Models in this unit have feel no pain 4+ against psychic attacks. Again, I mean, that's really all they're getting here, because the faction ability is Strands of Fate. So, unfortunately, this is the case with pretty much every Legends unit. If we scroll down here, by the way, nothing changed. All the rules are exactly the same. The Webway Gate even has Strands of Fate, which is absolutely terrible. Prince Riel, who is really cool, which a lot of people have the model for. Strands of Fate. So that sucks. And then, I guess the Prince of Corsair's ability still works. Hero of Iandon still works. But just simply a unit that can't benefit from any of the new cool Eldar stuff, right? No Strands of Fate, no nothing. Kahandras, same thing. He's essentially the same, but he doesn't have Scout. So even though he can join Striking Scorpions, guys, if he joins Striking Scorpions, he's losing the Scout ability, which is awful. Not that you would want to run him like that anyway. You'd probably want to run him in a Falcon. But there's just no synergy here, right? There's just absolutely no synergy. +1 to the hit roll. That's not bad, right? I mean, you could still use Karandras. He's still good. It's just that, it's awkward now, right? It's awkward now. So anyway, he still gets dev wounds, which is kind of cool. But the rest of his Scorpions are getting dev wounds. And again, he doesn't have battle focus, so that sucks as well. Illic Nightspear, he's exactly the same. I mean, literally the same. Nothing's changed there. Pretty good model. If you're not playing in tournaments, he's really cool with Rangers. But again, look at the army rule, right? Strands of Fate doesn't have battle focus. You have the Autarch Skyrunner, who they didn't even bother to change either. Path of Command, he doesn't reduce the CP cost of strats like the Autarchs do now. He just gives you 1 CP. Actually, I think if you're not playing in tournaments, this might actually be a good pick for a Wind Rider host, even though you don't have battle focus. Has Ride the Wind, which gives you a 6-inch advance move. Not bad. But, you know, kind of weird. Because his stats aren't even updated. His Laser Lance is the old Laser Lance. Which sucks. It's a bad profile. So that's a little weird. He still can only join Wind Riders too. Can't even join, you know, Shining Spears. Then you have all the other ones that were already... I'm not going to cover these really because they're exactly the same. Nothing has changed. I've looked through them. You have all the Corsair units, the Vampire Hunter, the Vampire Transports, the Bone Singer, which again has Strands of Fate. You can't... God, guys, you can't have battle focus, okay? They don't want to give you battle focus. Weirdly enough, the Bone Singer can actually join Wraithblades, Wraithguards, and Wraithlords. So that's kind of interesting. And he also gets what looks like to me Lone Operative within 3 inches of Wraith constructs or vehicles. That's kind of cool. The Bone Singer actually just seems better than the Spirit Seer in a lot of ways. Gives Feel No Pain 6+ to Wraith units in the unit. Kind of cool. Wasp Assault Walkers are the same, right? All these are the same. I want to get down to what we've all trying to been, you know, what we're all wondering here, which is, yeah, the Hornet, right? Hornet, exactly the same, has Strands of Fate, but there's no Strands of Fate anymore. So how do you use that ability, right? Everything else looks pretty much the same. The Shuriken Cannons are still sustained hits 1. Guys, this was the laziest port I've ever seen. They didn't even change the Shuriken Cannon stats. Right? It still has sustained hits 1. It doesn't have lethal hits. What's up with that? Scatter Laser doesn't have sustained hits. Like, really? Weird. Absolutely weird. Just the laziest slop that you've ever seen. And again with the Skothak Wraith Knight, right? Strands of Fate. Its weapons are obviously different than the ones on the Wraith Knight, but the Scatter Shield isn't updated. The Scatter Shield is just a 4+ invul save. It's not -1 damage like the one in the Codex. And it doesn't have the ability to move through terrain in the same way that the ones in the Codex do. So that's stupid. The Shadow Spectres don't have battle focus. They kept their, you know, move, shoot, move ability, but they don't have the battle focus. The cool thing about these guys is you can actually run these in Aspect Host in Legends games. And they're really good, actually. You know, they actually punch pretty good. But, you know, then my thinking kind of goes to, well, we kind of have so much in the role of Shadow Spectres now anyway, that these guys are pretty obsolete. They can't benefit from, you know, battle focus. They compete with Dark Reapers for damage 3, so their focused Prism Rifles are absolutely useless pretty much. And their Prism Disperse Blasts, we just have Dire Avengers for that now, guys, right? Dire Avengers is exactly the same thing, except they get 4 shots, which is better than D6. The Blast is cool, but you're rarely going to get that, you know. It's rarely going to be a benefit because Dire Avengers have sustained hits 1 within 9 inches, so usually that's going to make up for it at least a little bit. And these guys are a lot more expensive. So that kind of sucks as well, right? And the points probably haven't changed one bit. We're going to check that in a second. Irilith, still terrible. And still doesn't have any faction bonuses, right? Warp Hunter, still awful. Wraith Seer, which would be cool in a Wraith detachment. Strands of Fate doesn't have battle focus, so that means that it doesn't benefit from its own battle focus ability, being a psyker. And it has no addition, like it has no rules for +1 ballistic skill and +1 weapon skill. And you can't join a Spirit Seer anymore, so Spirit Bond's useless, right? It says if a Spirit Seer model from your army with a leader ability can be attached to a Wraith Lord, well, they can't be attached anymore, so then Spirit Bond is worthless. So this was just a direct port, guys. It's absolutely crap. They didn't put any effort into whatsoever. I mean, I guess it's toughness 11 still, right? But without battle focus, without the abilities and stuff, it just doesn't seem like it's worth a damn. And that's it. There's no points for it. I'm sure they'll update the points in another document, but the points are going to be the same. You know, it's absolutely ridiculous. I think this is honestly one of the biggest slaps in the face to the Eldar community as far as their Legends units. All they had to do was go in there and just update it and tweak it to match, at least match, the new codex, right? I mean, obviously these units are not going to be broken because guess what? They can't be used in tournaments. It's just for people wanting to play with their models. And a lot of the models now just don't work. They do not work in your codex, in your army list, because they don't have the same rules. They don't have the same synergies. They can't benefit from a lot of the same stuff. So I'm just really disappointed by this. I wanted to share this because it's absolute crap, especially coming out of a game today that I had with Spirit Conclave, which, by the way, I'm going to have a video up on the Spirit Conclave probably tomorrow or the next day. I'm trying to get that up, but I really do want to, kind of do a better job on it, make sure everything's good to go for the video, stuff like that, make sure the quality's okay. I know the Seer Council video, there's a little bit of clipping and stuff like that with the noise, and that's because there was a storm going on in the background and my settings were a little off. So it was overcompensating a little bit, the microphone. But really, God, it would be so cool, too, to show up with the Wraiths here. But of course, now we're just going to have to use them as Wraith Lords. Cool-looking Wraith Lords. Because you can't really use it. I mean, you could, but it's just god-awful. It has no rules, right? So how can you possibly be okay using this as it stands, except for Rule of Cool, which, I'm sorry guys, but Rule of Cool for me stops when the model stops having rules. When the model is just a freaking piece of plastic on the battlefield that doesn't do anything, has no special rules because, you can't target with stratagems or anything like that. Its faction ability is still Strength's Fate. That's just awful. I mean, I guess you could probably target it with some strats and stuff, but it's not getting battle focus, right? I mean, that's the big thing of Spirit Conclave. So, by the way, Spirit Conclave is good. I played it, I had a really good game against Blood Angels. I think, obviously, Blood Angels is a really strong army. The toughness did matter. The toughness decrease did matter against Blood Angels, actually, because of all the Strength 10 they have. So the Wraith Lords went down a little bit quicker than I wanted to. And I think that's what really kind of sealed the deal for me. My opponent played very well. He knew that I was going to score more on primary, so he just kind of focused on secondaries, used the greater speed of the Blunt Angels to his advantage, and he ended up winning a pretty close game. I had a ton of primary points just because of the way I set up with my army, and I'll talk to you guys about it later, but in the Spirit Conclave video. But yeah, I had more primary, he had more secondary. I really struggled with secondary that game, especially scoring things that, I needed to basically, wait a turn for, because he would just send in a unit, kill whatever it was. Like, it was actually very hard, but believe it or not, it was very hard to survive against, Death Company even with -1 damage. Because they just had so many attacks and they were just hitting, they were hitting me on 3, wounding on 3s and stuff like that, re-rolling hits. It was still just really, really hard to make that many saves. But they did well. The Wraiths did well. Again, they're a good primary army. They're good at scoring primary. But if you don't kit them out for secondary points and you're facing an army that's fast and hard-hitting, you will lose your secondary units very quickly, and then you have nothing. And the first couple turns, I kind of, really missed having the extra CP from Eldrad. I think Eldrad, by the way, guys, do not listen to anybody who says he's bad, okay? He's absolutely necessary for being able to consistently score good secondary missions, consistently draw good secondaries, consistently be able to use your stratagems every turn. Like, he's needed. He's absolutely needed. And I was a little bit sad that I didn't bring him, because I think that could have changed the game if I had brought him instead of a Farseer. Anyway, I'm kind of getting off track here, but yeah, the Legends, oh man, it's just a bad taste in my mouth. I'm so sorry. I feel really bad about it. I know I shouldn't because it's not me that's doing this, but I just feel bad because I love the Legends units. You know, I think they're really cool. I wish people played with Legends more. I do. I think they're really awesome models. Unfortunately, GW is just not putting the effort in. And when I say they're not putting the effort in, I mean zero effort. Zero effort, guys. They could have at least changed the faction rule, right? They could have kept everything the same. That's the crazy shit. They could have kept everything the same, just changed the faction rule, updated the weapons slightly to match the codex, and that would have been fine. I would have been fine with that. I'd been like, yeah, that figures, you know, that they wouldn't put too much effort into it, but at the same time, at least make it compatible with the codex. It's not even compatible. Anyway, so that's going to be it for today's video, guys. Just wanted to share that really quick. I'm very sorry for you guys out there who, you know, loves their Legends models. Maybe you can find a home for them, you know, as proxies or something like that. I think Shadow Spectres make great proxy for Warp Spiders. They're really, you know, at least I think so. I don't think anybody would question you on that, except maybe, you know, tournament players. But even then, you could put them on the same base size, and you could just say, hey, look, you know, they're Warp Spiders. Who cares? Or they're Swooping Hawks, right? Who cares? They're just cool looking Swooping Hawks. And I don't think anybody would ding you for that. So anyway, that's going to be it for today. If you guys are interested in supporting the channel and joining the Patreon, I will leave that link in the description. The Patreon, of course, is free if you want it to be. It's a free trial. You can join as a free member, and that'll give you access to our Discord community, which is a great community of Eldar players and enthusiasts who love talking about strategies, tactics, and of course, hobbying. And I also have a channel store page and an Amazon affiliate link where you can get discounted Eldar minis. And of course, the channel store page has a good collection of Eldar inspired apparel. So you can check that out as well. All right, guys, that's going to be it for today. Peace out. More videos to come. We got a reaction video coming out that I'm going to make. We have a video on the, you know, Spirit Conclave that we're going to make, and a video, at least a little bit, maybe down the road, maybe a couple weeks out. I'll just have to see when I can actually have time to kind of sit down and make it, but a video covering list building for the Aeldari at the lower point levels. All right, guys, that's going to be it. See you later, and have a good one. Peace out.